I'm going to tell you something interesting. So I've been on Twitter talking about the Holy Land Foundation case. Did I just snort? I did. But anyways, I'm very passionate about the case because I know factually, based on the facts of the case, that they're innocent. They're innocent of providing material support to Hamas. That's a pretty big deal. You know, about my case, let's talk about my case. My case, I don't usually discuss much because I have to go to a place, in my mind, just to bring back those memories, which I choose not to think about on a daily basis if I have any control over it. But let me start here because I could start anywhere in my case. One, my judge was biased. How do I know my judge was biased when she sentenced me? Oh, yeah, my sentence was totally premeditated. So, in her own admittance at my sentencing, she said that she was sending a message. Well, it can't be unbiased if you're using a defendant in a criminal case as, to fulfill an agenda. That agenda was to send a message to hackers. That's why I got so much time. And most hackers that you may have heard of don't really get much time. I did 9 years, but then I ended up really doing about 11 years. Why so much time? Well, could it be in parts because I was framed for witness intimidation? Yes, I was. I was framed for witness intimidation, and during my sentencing, it was based on my prosecutor's own sworn oral testimony that yes, I did it. So I'm talking about not a modicum of evidence was used to convince the judge that I was guilty. It just came out of the prosecutor's mouth. And my judge accepted it as the fact. But the truth of the matter is, all of my jail recordings, my phone recordings from jail, none of them were used. My letters to an ETA member, Nikon, um, who I supposedly was giving orders to, none of them were used in court. And my sister was raided by the FBI. She had tape recordings of all of our phone conversations. None of those were used in court. So literally, the government had dirt, and I mean like nothing, dirt as in nothing, just wind in their fist, and so they just basically said, yeah, he did it, and that was it. I mean, if you knew me and someone said, yeah, Ghost Exodus, like back in the day, back in like 2006, like keep in mind there was no ETA or Ghost Exodus back then. Back in 2006, he hacked into this bank and he took the money and then like donated it to charity, then hacked the charity, and then gave it to somebody else. If you'd heard that story, which is asinine, which I would have never done any of those things, you would have believed it because you knew I was a hacker. So I probably did it, but who knows? No. Anyways, I actually had this letter in my hand that was notarized by a notary. It was an original letter, two of them from ETA Nikon, with a statement under penalty of perjury that these things are true and correct, and that this letter was authentic. The letter signified that he was telling me of some of the activities of ETA members that could harm my case. Two of them who were harassing the confidential informant, and so these phone calls and these letters back and forth, you know, demonstrated that I had no involvement in that, and still I was actually trying to protect the confidential informant because I did not want my case to escalate any further than it had based on the activities, the retaliation of some of my ETA members. Don't get me wrong. This stuff was bi-directional, but I'm not going to get into that. So, yeah, I was framed. So, how about the HLF? Were they framed? Well, yes, they were framed. They were framed in this way, in the fact that um, our own president was doing a former Prime Minister of Israel, Ariel Sharon, a favor. Any type of Palestinian support undermines, the Israeli agenda, which is that this is our land and this is not your land. Um, Anyone helping Palestinians in any manner is considered a threat to that agenda. They don't like Palestinians. Um, so, under the Article 11 of the United States Constitution, it is forbidden for our government to prosecute anyone in our country, an American citizen, on the behest of a foreign nation. Well, we did that. We totally did that. We didn't care about the Constitution. We didn't care that it was the law. We did it anyway. We broke the law to do a favor for Israel. Also, um, were there any other laws that they broke? Yeah, due process, under the Constitution. I think that was Amendment 5. Yeah, I think it's Amendment 5. Due process. Um, so in their case, the government relied on secret evidence that no one could see. Only the government could view it. Kind of like in my case. Well, that doesn't really make sense. Isn't evidence? Yeah, well, there was a jury. It would have been really important for the jury to see this evidence, right? Not really. It's secret. No one can see it. Like even the HLF's own attorney, who had classified like security clearance, he was legally, lawfully, like able to view that. No, you can't see it. It's super secret. Also, the government relied on the testimony of secret witnesses in violation of the Sixth Amendment. So they couldn't confront their accusers. All right, so are you sure these people are guilty? Why is the government breaking all these laws just to convict them or just to convince these jury members that they're guilty? Yeah. Well, in my case, check this out. In my case, I'm known as the hospital hacker. That's me. But guess what? I didn't hack a hospital at all. I didn't even work at a hospital. I have never hacked a hospital. So like, oh yeah, this guy's evil. Look at the shit he did. He hacked a hospital. Like, oh no, actually it didn't. It a hospital and a private clinic are two different things. If I literally have to go on YouTube and show you what private clinics look like, and I'll take you to a hospital so you can see the dynamic is completely different. This clinic specialized in orthopedics and sports medicine. It was closed at night, on the weekends, on federal holidays. The doors were closed. There are no appointments. I'm talking about if you had like a broken bone, you're going there, to get it splinted or fixed, whatever. A hospital, we've got an ICU. We've got trauma, we've got, people who are like dying, women giving birth, we've got major operations. We've got brains being operated on. That's a hospital. That's not what happened in my case. So by changing some words around, we've created this we've escalated the the dynamic and the seriousness of this case. Also, in my case, it is said that I hacked into an HVAC system. Well, no, I didn't hack into it. I didn't need to crack the passwords to get into the system. I sat down and used it. And then in my little, my evil machinations, um, actually were my using Facebook, watching YouTube videos, and chatting on AOL Instant Messenger. I bought some card magnets from Vistaprint. Everything that I actually did on an HVAC system is really well known as far as the evidence goes. But I also installed a commercial remote access tool called LogMeIn, which I used um, locally on the local network, because where I was, in proximity to this computer, I was on like a dying end of a wireless connection. So everything I was doing constantly dropping, constantly dropping. I couldn't get anything done. And bear in mind, these are not justifications; these are actually explanations. And so I installed LogMeIn and TeamViewer because one of them didn't work because the firewall was blocking the incoming connection. And then instead of changing, the firewall configurations, what do? I just I don't change them because I'm not hacking the system. I'm just connecting to it from my laptop so that I can do tasks remotely, like what I just described. And so even if my connection drops, whatever I was doing over here is not dropped. So I know this might be confusing for some of you, but transmitting a malicious code literally means a program, a code, or a command that has the ability to modify, damage, or impair a protected computer system used in interstate commerce. All right, let me explain it. A program, code, or command is not exclusive to malware. Malware was used somewhere else in the clinic, not on the system. So all these the whole like dynamic of the government's claim that I'm a dangerous individual hangs on a theory that they're spinning as fact that yeah, if he had, changed the climate control in the facility, if he had accessed patient diagnostics or records, if he had done these things, yeah, let's just ruminate on that for a moment. So I'm like going to court. I'm being indicted for things that I did, but now you're adding flavor to it based on things I didn't do. And if I didn't do them, it's because I didn't intend to do them. So when you Google my name, you will see hacked a hospital, threatened to shut it down, could have done this, patients could have died. And all of that is false because none of it is true, not even theoretically. If it was a hospital, theoretically, maybe. If the HVAC server went down and it adversely, altered climate controlled medicines or whatever. But none of that happens because we're not talking about a minority report here. Future crimes. Future crimes are based on intent. I had no intent. So could it be that the government also did the same thing in the HLF case? They provided material support to Hamas. No, they didn't. Our own government, with the American Red Cross, gave financial support to the same Zakat committees that these 5 men also gave support to. And none of those groups were on a terrorist watch list. But here, let me show you a bunch of videos of buses being blown up and suicide bombers that had absolutely nothing to do with the Holy Land Foundation. Similarly, my prosecutor showed videos that I made, and they were scary. My videos were scary of hacks that I did, of propaganda videos that I made in order to scare the judge. Yeah, the judge was scared. He should have been. I was the leader of the ETA. That doesn't mean anything, by the way. I'm just being facetious. My case came at a time when private first class Chelsea Manning leaked all those State Department cables to WikiLeaks. Julian Assange happened. WikiLeaks just exploded, and then Anonymous became, the WikiLeaks army. Operation Payback happened, and then LulzSec happened, and then all these hacks, all of government hacks all over the world happened, and here I am. You know how hard it is to catch hackers? And they got one. They're going to make an example out of me to try to prevent this from happening. That was the political climate of the time when I was busted in 2009. What else was I innocent of? It's got to be something else. But that's for another video. Don't be an idiot. Do your research. Don't ever just accept things at face value. Sometimes the media lies and they don't realize they're lying because they have taken what the government in their press releases, they're taking it fundamentally as the truth. And so they're just going to publish what the government is releasing. And then you've got dumbasses who work for media publications who are going to paraphrase everything that is said to try to make it seem more original on their platform. And then they're going to add things based on, things that they see on the internet that have nothing to do with the facts. Nothing at all. Man, some people are so gullible. There is a sucker born every minute. And let me tell you, you better not be one of them. Anyways, the DOJ can kiss my ass. Oh, hey, pursuant to the First Amendment, that's the First Amendment. Don't arrest me for speaking what I feel. Kiss my ass. Exactly. Fuck the DOJ. We're done here.